Welcome to Sex Therapy, where we will be having sessions, not shows. Who doesn't love a good session? We'll be fingering the topics of the day to do some healing, therapy tips, addressing tools for sex positivity, and for real life goals. You may need some lube for this. We promise to go slow, but just at first. This should feel like y'all's gay barbershop. This is Sex Therapy. I am TheeSupaman, TheeSupaman, aka the Chancellor of Chuckalisa, BKA the Divine Dick Dealer. My pronouns are he, him, and they. My co-host is.
Hey everybody, this is Luis Diaz, aka your therapist friend, and I'm excited to be here with Mr. Superman to talk to you about everything regarding sex and how sex, gay sex actually, is connected to your mental health, and we're gonna go forward from there and see what we're. I'm just excited just to see where this is going.
It's going to go because that's where it's supposed to go. So our point with this podcast, again, it's a show, not a podcast, because we're going to be doing shows, is to connect with you guys and do a little bit of healing and talk a lot of shit as well. But we're going to start with our intake. And our intake is a question this week that is on everyone's tongues. What is the best song from Beyonce's Renaissance album?
Okay, do you want to say both at the same time and see?
We're both going to be correct, apparently.
Oh well, I mean, well, there you go. When we were preparing, he asked me this question. I didn't know it was part of the podcast, and I answered it, and then he got not the best reaction for it. But I'm excited if it's the same one though.
Alien Superstar is that girl, period.
And that is the only
Alien
answer.
Superstar,
That is the only answer.
I'm one of one. I'm number one. I'm the only one. Don't even waste your time trying to compete with me.
Appreciate
No
it.
one else in the world thinks like me.
And then my favorite part of the whole song, one word.
Unique.
Unique.
It's the
Every
best.
time.
It's the
Every
best.
time. Oh.
It's the best song on the whole album, and I really don't want to argue with anybody else about it.
I mean, either. Like, again, when you asked and then you said, nah, don't say it. I'm just like, well, in my mind, I was like, I hope that my co-host understands the importance of the answer of this question. Because this will probably mean that this podcast was not even going to happen. This show was not going to happen. So
Yeah, it could quite have been canceled on episode 1 had you said plastic off the sofa. It could, yes.
No, would never. Would never. I mean, I have close seconds, don't get me wrong, but that one, top notch. It's just Beyonce, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Like, it's the gay anthem. It's the gay anthem. It's
correct. And can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it in person. Take my money. I'll be there.
Oh, so yeah, so you're the one that spent like $20K and I could take it. Yeah, I remember. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And I'm borrowing some of your money to get there.
Absolutely not. But keep going. Yes. Good try.
So our next segment is Healing Heifers, brought to you by Dr. Luis.
Thank you so much. So, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor yet, but
I am a doctor because you got more degrees than me.
But okay, so see, he does these things just to get me to like not to feel like all like jittery and like embarrassed and stuff like that, making me feel good. Thank you, I appreciate it though. But just for disclaimer, so people don't think, I don't want to be those people that throw on credentials that they don't have. We're not gonna speak names right now, but keep going. So part of like this segment of Healing Heifers, we just discussed, okay, so how can we make this relevant to the community? And one of the things that came to mind was there's a lot of damage when we don't have these talks about topics that might be taboo in our communities. And one of them that came to mind was actually kinks. And a lot of people don't talk about kinks because or there's very specific kinks that are more quote unquote accepted, and people are more prone to talk to those. But when you dig deeper into what other more specific kinks that people have, it just turns around to shame. And shame causes a whole plethora of mental health concerns, like one of them being depression, because people start to isolate, people start to think that what they are feeling, which is an attraction to a certain type of kink, is something that's wrong, and that maybe something's wrong with them. And at times, specific kinks have specific communities that are not advertised out there. And that can cause the person again to feel like they're alone and they're the only one in the world with this kink. And I'm here to tell you that you're not. And thankfully, we live in the era of the internet, but you can type your kink and multiple uh, groups are gonna pop up, and you're gonna be able to find that community. So I did wanted to talk about a little bit more of that, and between us, your hosts, just to see if but yeah, let's start with that question. So in regards to healing, so healing involves at times talking about things. So let's get into the kinky talk then. So what would you say if I were to ask you, have you ever felt kind of like what I just mentioned? Like you had a certain type of kink or a certain type of like, activity that you wanted to do, but you decided to like not say anything about it. You don't have to say the kink if you don't want to. It's just like, have you experienced that? But knowing you, you probably will say it anyways. But
I
we'll
will. I mean, I am an open book. No, there's not many kinks that I wouldn't do if they were something that I would be interested in. Um, no, but I mean, okay, I'll share. I like cum and seeing cum on holes and pushing cum into holes.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that is a kink of mine.
and would you say that you ever had a situation, or because that one is actually pretty common, and when I talk, because I'm a practicing clinician, I didn't say that at the beginning. So when I do talk about sex with my clients, because sex is really important, especially in relationships, so that will be a different show, most likely. Um, uh, this one is that it's not that uncommon. So a lot of people do talk about this one. I mean, yes, no, it's not that uncommon. At least in my therapy sessions, it's not. That's not uncommon. Um, what I would say that, have you ever felt like that you had to hide or like not talk about it, or that you feel shamed about that kink at ever?
No. Again, I'm old and I've been around for a
You
long
are
time.
not old. Shut up.
So uh it's not much that a lot of people can shame me with. But I get that the culture of HIV positivity can be shameful.
Mhm.
And um dealing with people who don't understand U equal U and prep and
Mhm.
PEP and stuff like that, that could be shameful, but it never shamed me because I had that knowledge for a while.
No, no, and I agree, and that's a piece that it's important that I was alluding to at the beginning. It's having these talks. Sorry, guys, you're probably gonna, or everybody else in between, you're gonna hear a lot of bilingual problems during these shows. Um, so that's a piece of it. Like having these talks, it's important because people gain knowledge from them and understand. A lot of that shame comes from like not knowing or having a lot of assumptions of a certain type of thing when it's not really what they thought about. And then just to share mine, because I'm also a sex positive therapist, and I think it's fair, that I share as well. One of mine is like power play. I really enjoy power play. And I'm gonna let you all decide which one do you think I am. But power play is gonna be maybe that could be a question on Twitter or something. Which one do you think he is in power play? Well, power play is something that I discovered throughout my journey. My gender identity and my sexual orientation identity what's really interesting. It wasn't like a lot of my friends who are queer. They were like, oh yeah, I knew this about me when I was this young and whatnot, or
You didn't give us
my
your pronouns. You forgot
oh,
your
I did
pronouns.
not. Mine are he, his pronouns. He, him pronouns. However, I'm also lenient if people call me she or whatever. Like if I don't see if I don't feel like it's their intention to like be mean, or just be yeah, just like trying to be disrespectful, then that's when I'm like, okay. But my preferred pronouns are he, him. But again, if a she comes over here and whatnot, if it's just in the middle of like having a kiki, like I really don't mind at all. It's
Because I'm
just
gonna
like
call you. I'm
it,
gonna call you a she and a yes, ma'am.
and that's okay, man. That's okay. We can do it. That's okay, Mr. Day. We do it. We good. So no, but yeah. So my long story short, so I found out that I'm pansexual, and I had straight relationships when I was growing up, like many of our queer people that are listening, and a lot of our friends that we know, because that's kind of what we knew. Nobody talked about that it was a possibility to have a relationship with somebody of the same sex. You know what I'm saying? And so I had my straight relationships, and they were successful. They lasted years. But then when I moved by accident, I moved to an area called Boys Town. If you know, you know, and if you don't, Google it. So it was by accident that I moved to Boys Town, and I started noticing a lot of like, for those who cannot watch, my host has a whole rainbow flag behind him on his walls. So I started noticing a lot of like pillars with the rainbow flag while I was walking to the train. I'm like, huh. And then come to find out, I moved to the gay neighborhood, and a friend of mine that moved from a different state said, "Hey," and he is gay. He was like, "Hey, do you want to go to the gay bars with me?" And I had gay friends back home in Puerto Rico. Oh, that's a fun fact. I'm from Puerto Rico, born and raised, for all that want to know. And I went out, and in that experience, like I experienced like men giving me attention, like for example, buying me drinks or saying nice comments about me. And I was like, this feels not awkward. And I actually am liking it. I'm not gonna lie, right? So that was like, and then experiences kept happening, and I thought I was bisexual. And then I came out to a lot of people that way. But then that label really didn't stick, because I noticed that it was just the definitions that I was looking at and reading just didn't work out. And then I found pansexual, and I was like, this is it. This meshes with me. And just come to say, like, throughout those experiences, that's how also I found that power play is something that I enjoy, specifically with other men. Like, I like power play in general, but power play with men is just something. It just turns a different area of the brain for me.
Okay.
So that's kind of like my kink.
So you demystified that for the kids.
I mean, that's the hope, right? Like, let's hope and here, like, to have like those conversations and understand that having kinks, and one of the things that I believe that helps with healing is to understand that kinks are okay. If you have a kink, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And yes, you're gonna have your people that are gonna have their own thoughts about it, which probably are not going to be the best. But it's also looking at it from a compassionate standpoint. These people were also raised in the same probably environment as you, to shame anything that was different, or to shame anything that's away from the heteronormative rules that sadly are the ones that are the most common in, at least in our societies, and where we live, in the United States of America. Like, that's kind of like the overall commonality, right?
I agree. So thank you for healing heifers. I hope you heifers got healed out there. Next, we will move on into our tools. So we're going to give you guys tools every week. They will be tools talking about tools, or tools for all kinds of discussions. So our first tool this week is My Charts and Quest Diagnostics Online has testing results for STIs and STDs that you can trust, instead of hoping that someone with paper is going to give you the best results. So that's our first tool of the week. If you don't have My Charts or Quest Diagnostics, please get My Charts or Quest Diagnostics so that you can be sure of your status and the status of other people that you may be playing or playing with.
Louder for the ones in the back.
Okay, don't be low. Don't be low vibrational. This is not the time for being low vibrational.
Louder for the ones in the back. Is that better?
My affirmation this week, I wanted to affirm everyone that winter is coming, but it's not the time to let seasonal or any other depression kick your ass. Now is the time to reverse that polarity and dictate your own destiny. That is my affirmation for this week.
That was a beautiful affirmation. And another thing which is very interesting, you mentioned seasonal affective disorder or seasonal affective depression. I forgot they changed the name. I forgot which one it's called now. That I don't have the whole disorder, and tidbit for everybody that might be a mental health nut. Playing words. In order to be diagnosed with what is considered a disorder, it has to affect your functionality in life, like not being able to go to work, your relationships with people, and all of that. If it doesn't do that, that's actually a criteria for, if not all, most of the what is considered a disorder. So reason saying is because I say when I have it, I don't have the disorder, but I do have the symptoms of that. Every winter in Chicago, and for those who know, winter lasts 300 months of the 12 months of the year. And there's and then the sunlight goes away at 3 p.m. And it's difficult. I'm, coming from an island and having to adjust to this. I still never adjusted. And once winter months start, it's like a depleted energy immediately. Like it goes from like 100 to 50, and I feel it. Like I don't know how else to describe it. It's like a switch that went poof, and it's awful. It takes me a longer time to get out of bed. I sometimes don't even want to take care of myself, wash my face or brush my teeth, when I wake up, or have breakfast. It's really difficult. So thank you for saying that, because it does it helps put things into perspective and has a reminder that, and like you said, it's a season, right? So it's not gonna last forever. So that was nice. That actually touched my heart. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Reverse that polarity. What are you wearing in Black Panther?
Not the not I don't have Wakanda regalia like you are. I haven't really thought about it though. That's a really good question.
You're supposed to wear white.
Do I want to wear white?
That's the culture says we got to wear white.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
White
so
black.
For everybody that I'm gonna the only white shirt that I have is like a mesh white shirt with basically everything's gonna be out. So is that gonna be appropriate?
Hey, this is sex therapy. Everything is hey, wear a motherfucking thong. I'm with it.
I mean, we're sex positive, right? So yeah. Okay, you know what? I'll probably will not wear that, but I will probably buy a white outfit because I like to spend money on clothes.
Yeah.
As you know, for all of you we met not too long ago. And he actually just made me buy a whole sweatshirt for almost $40 or $50 something because I liked it and I was like, "Oh, let me buy it."
And we are gonna make you guys continue to listen to this podcast / show. Again, we do sessions every week. So I'm gonna let Dr. Louise tell us what we're gonna be talking about next week and wrap up the show.
Sure. Well, since it's sex therapy and gay sex is gonna be the topic of it all, I say that next week we are going to discuss more about the nuances of what gay sex, and thinking about, for example, what would you have liked to know, before engaging in gay sex, and I think also talking about the topics of how to have safe sex when you're engaging in queer sex, and all of those nuances that come with with this type of activity. And like, I think like you mentioned before, like how to play and play with others and do it the safest way as possible.
I agree. All right, so now that we are wrapping up, it is time for our shots. So we made it.
For the record, he's betraying the culture. He's by having tequila. I'm having rum. As a
I
person from Puerto Rico,
I am a Dominican and we drink tequila. I am not going to let you offend me.
You're from a Caribbean. You're a Caribbean neighbor.
You see how he's trying to gaslight me? You see?
No, I don't. I want him to drink rum with me.
Episode
everybody,
one.
like everybody on the Twitter, or on the Twitter, or whatever in the opening, please comment that you want him to drink Caribbean rum. That's what we're doing.
And that's what we're not doing. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh.
Rest in peace, Takeoff from Migos. Free Brittany Griner. Convict Donald Trump. Remember to vote and get your COVID vaccines and boosters.
And the monkeypox vaccine if you haven't done so.
As well. We are wrapping up this week's episode. I would like you to remember that you are from God and you can't be fucked with. This is sex therapy.